Trump explodes as Elon Musk publicly betrays him. "You used me." Before the cameras, before the tweets, before the Oval Office grew cold, there was friendship. Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Two names, two titans, one from the marble towers of politics, the other from the launch pads of industry. In the early days, they were more than allies. They were symbols of a new American fusion power and innovation, populism and futurism. In the glow of cameras and under the chandeliers of Mar-a-Lago, Trump called Elon his friend, a smart man, a visionary, a guest of honor who didn't need an invitation. Elon in turn nodded, rarely speaking in public about it, but always present when it mattered. During the first Trump administration, Musk was seen walking the West Wing like a returning captain. Trump's advisors whispered about his influence. Tesla and SpaceX stocks flickered with every handshake and grin. This wasn't politics as usual. It was politics built on tech, on tweets, and on Trump's obsession with dominance. Trump loved winners, and Musk was a winner. They stood side by side during business roundtables. Musk attended private dinners where few were allowed. The two shared stages, photo ops, and moments off camera that would soon define a rift that nobody saw coming. But even then, subtle cracks formed. Behind the charm and smiles, Trump's team noticed Musk asking more pointed questions. Not about politics, about policy, regulations, EV credits, defense contracts, infrastructure bills. The seeds of divergence were planted quietly under chandeliers and behind closed doors. In public, the bromance bloomed. Trump praised Musk's genius on air. Musk, careful and calculated, focused on innovation, saying little about politics. But to insiders, the balance was delicate. Musk admired opportunity. Trump admired loyalty, and loyalty was about to be tested. It came in the form of a bill, a sweeping tax and spending proposal crafted by Trump's team. It was ambitious, expensive, symbolic. And quietly it carried a clause that would strip or alter incentives for electric vehicles, EV credits, that Tesla, more than any other company, had leveraged to build an empire. When the bill reached the House floor, Musk said nothing. When it passed, he paused. But once it hit the Senate, when the media buzzed and headlines boiled, Musk tweeted, "Kill the bill." 3 words, not loud but explosive. The post landed during a White House briefing. Reporters gasped. Trump's aides scrambled. And Trump, he went silent. Within hours, Elon Musk followed up. Keep the EV mandate, cut the pork. He linked a video of Trump defending the bill and added a single word. Whatever. Trump didn't answer, not immediately. That was not like him. His advisors expected fury, a press statement, maybe a tweet. Instead, there was silence. For 2 days, Trump reportedly asked those closest to him, "Is this about the money? The mandate? Did he know the language before it went public?" Some said yes, some weren't sure. But the silence broke on a Thursday afternoon inside the Oval Office. Cameras rolled, reporters gathered. Trump stood beside the German chancellor but looked distant. He was asked about Elon Musk. "I've always liked Elon," he began. The tone was quieter. He chose his words. "But I was very surprised. He criticized the bill. Not the idea. He went at me personally." Then came the line that echoed across newsrooms. "Elon and I had a great relationship." Had, past tense. One word that changed everything. Trump looked straight at the reporters. His face was composed, but his voice cracked at the edge. He knew the bill, he knew the EV clause, he supported it when it was convenient. Now that he's outside, he's turning. He paused, then added, "Some people leave my administration and become hostile. Elon might be one of them. We'll see." And just like that, the door closed. Even as cameras panned and headlines screamed, "Trump slams Musk," something else was happening behind the scenes. Trump's closest allies tried to reach Musk. Quiet calls, private messages. They wanted clarity. Was this about politics? Was it a principled objection? Or was it Tesla? Was it money? Musk didn't respond. Some insiders claimed Musk had warned about the EV clause before. Others said he was blindsided. The truth lived somewhere in the static. What was clear, though, was this: the alliance had fractured. And for both men, it was about more than policy. It was personal. Media outlets caught fire. Every show from Fox News to CNN replayed the clips. Analysts debated the stakes. Pundits speculated whether Trump had just lost his strongest tech ally, and whether Musk had just lost access to a powerful friend. In Atlanta, reporters asked Trump again. "I hope he does well with Tesla," he said. But when asked if he'd speak to Musk, his tone shifted. "No, I don't have any plans. I'm not even thinking about that." The press picked up on the phrasing. Not no comment, not maybe later. Just, I'm not thinking about him. But if that were true, why mention it at all? Days passed. On social media, Trump loyalists accused Musk of betrayal. Memes spread. Hashtags bloomed. Musk, true to form, didn't engage much, but he did post a clarification. This bill was passed in the dead of night. No one read it. I wasn't shown a draft. The idea that I knew its contents is false. But the damage was done. Trust once implicit was now contested. By the weekend, late-night hosts joked about the billionaire breakup, but inside political circles, nobody was laughing. They knew what this meant. Musk had helped fund Trump's reach. His platforms carried MAGA messages when others wouldn't, and Trump, he gave Musk access, legitimacy, proximity to power. Now both stood alone, and Washington was watching. The lights on Pennsylvania Avenue flickered under a late spring dusk as the cameras outside the White House pressed closer. They weren't just there for another statement or another press gaggle. They wanted answers. What had unraveled between two of the most talked-about men in America, and more importantly, what would come next. Inside the residence, Trump wasn't watching the news. He was pacing. Aides tried to distract him with policy briefings, scheduling matters, donor updates. None of it stuck. The question gnawed at him. How had it come to this? Just months before, Musk had been a fixture at his side. Now his posts were biting, sarcastic. Subtle jabs masked as policy critiques. Trump wasn't used to betrayal, and he certainly wasn't used to losing control of a narrative, especially not one where he had until recently held the pen. He reached for his phone. The screen glowed with trending hashtags. Trump vs. Musk. Billionaire breakup. Even parody accounts had surfaced, mocking the once famed friendship. A meme showed the two riding a tandem bike, one pedaling, the other jumping off. Meanwhile, in Austin, Elon Musk reviewed reports from his communications team. The backlash was growing, but so was the praise. Progressives hailed his courage. Fiscal conservatives echoed his disdain for the bill's size. And yet deep down, Elon felt a knot in his chest. This wasn't a Twitter spat. This was a reshaping of political gravity. Trump had opened doors for him inside the Pentagon on Capitol Hill in closed-door donor retreats, where billion-dollar opportunities lived. Musk didn't fear backlash, but he respected leverage. And now one of his greatest connections was on fire. Back in D.C., political operatives scrambled to contain the narrative. Advisors from both camps called intermediaries. Maybe there was still a path to de-escalation. A joint statement, a meeting, silence on both ends. But something else stirred in the background. Donors? High-dollar Republican backers, especially those straddling the tech and energy sectors, began expressing concern. If Trump and Musk were truly severed, which side should they choose? Trump still controlled a massive base. Musk had data platforms money. At a private gathering in Palm Beach, a strategist summarized the problem succinctly. When two kings go to war, the court gets nervous. By the end of the week, Trump held a rally in Iowa. Thousands attended. His speech was fiery, laced with classic lines about winning borders jobs. But toward the end, his tone shifted. "I've worked with some brilliant minds," he said. "Some of them stood by America. Some of them stood by their wallets." The crowd roared. They knew the reference. No names, just implication. Reporters immediately cut into the speech. Headlines framed it as a veiled jab. Trump suggests Musk chose profit over patriotism. But if that was the jab, Musk's reply was the counterpunch. Late that night, he posted a thread. No jokes, no emojis. Leadership isn't about loyalty to a man. It's about loyalty to the mission. If we compromise innovation for the sake of applause, we all lose. And then beneath that, I respect the office, always have, but I won't be used to sell a broken bill. The tweet went viral. Thousands retweeted. News anchors dissected every line. The White House responded indirectly the next day. A new spokesperson was sent out, young, sharp, careful. She didn't mention Musk by name, but reiterated the administration's commitment to advancing American energy innovation without bending to private interests. Behind closed doors, both sides considered escalation. Trump's team drafted talking points, painting Musk as self-serving. Musk's allies in Silicon Valley prepared op-eds defending his stance. But neither pulled the trigger fully, because something else was emerging. Polling data. Focus groups conducted in battleground states showed mixed reactions. Some older Trump supporters were wary of Musk's criticism. Others admired his independence. Younger voters, especially in tech-savvy districts, leaned Musk. For the first time, Trump's campaign staff flagged a trend. Musk's influence wasn't just economic, it was generational. Suddenly, this feud wasn't just personal, it was political math. And neither side could afford a misstep. On Monday, Trump appeared on a conservative podcast. The host, a longtime ally, asked directly, "Would you work with Elon again?" Trump paused. "I like results," he said. "If he wants to help America, I'm open. But loyalty matters to me, always has." It wasn't a yes, it wasn't a no. The next day, Elon Musk was photographed touring a Tesla plant with young engineers. Reporters asked if he'd take a call from Trump. "I don't hold grudges," he replied. "I build things." Back in D.C., the Senate neared a vote on the controversial bill. Behind the scenes, lobbyists pushed for amendments. Musk's companies had quietly submitted proposals. Trump's advisors monitored the developments closely. In a closed strategy session, one aide posed the question, "Do we want peace, or do we want a message?" Trump leaned back, hands folded. Let's see what he does next. The war of words had become a game of chess, and the board was still open. The stage was set. The nation watched, half with curiosity, half with concern. Political lines had already started redrawing themselves, not around parties, but around personalities. Trump and Musk weren't just figures. They were movements. And now those movements stood opposed. Cable networks ran specials titled "When Billionaires Clash" and "Tech versus Trump." Podcasts speculated on secret meetings and shadow campaigns. The air was thick with anticipation. Something was about to break. Inside Mar-a-Lago, Trump was meeting with campaign strategists. The room buzzed with energy, but Trump was calm, focused. He scrolled through headlines, occasionally pausing at ones that mentioned Musk. Then he tossed the tablet aside. "He's not the story Trump said." Aide Stephen Carver, a trusted political operative, leaned forward. "With respect, sir, he is. At least for the next cycle, people care about him, especially young voters." Trump's eyes narrowed. "We gave him everything. Air Force contracts, national exposure. You don't bite the hand." Stephen shrugged. "Unless he wants the leash off." Half a country away, Musk was hosting a closed-door tech summit in Austin. Startup founders, engineers, digital philosophers, they gathered not just to talk innovation, but to examine influence. How does power shift in a decentralized age? Can platforms outpace policy? Someone asked if Musk would run for office. He laughed. "No, I build things. Politicians argue, we're not the same species." Yet the speculation grew. Musk's name began surfacing in conversations about independent coalitions. A PAC was reportedly forming, backed by Silicon Valley billionaires, rumored to be open to a Musk endorsement, or even leadership. In Washington, Trump's team monitored these developments, like military strategists scanning radar. "Sir," one aide said in the war room, "we might need to make a choice. Either we neutralize him or align with him again. Trump walked to the window and said, let him make the next move. That move came at a surprising venue, an energy conference in Denver. Musk took the stage not as a CEO but as a thought leader. He delivered a keynote on America's energy future. But the undertones were political. Energy policy should not be written by people who profit from legacy fuels, he said. Innovation requires discomfort, sometimes even with friends. The room buzzed. Press headlines followed. Musk calls out political leaders over energy hypocrisy. Trump's response was subtle. At a campaign stop in Florida, he told the crowd, "Some billionaires think being smart gives them wisdom, but real wisdom is knowing your place in America's story." The jab landed, but it didn't stop Musk. In the days that followed, Musk appeared on several high-profile podcasts, including one hosted by a former presidential candidate. The interview was long, detailed, and revealing. "When I supported Trump, it was about disruption," Musk said. "He broke systems. That's useful until it's not. At some point, breaking becomes breaking down." The quote spread like wildfire. Trump's team went into full defense mode. Loyal pundits hit back on cable news. Editorials painted Musk as an egotist chasing attention, a billionaire with a messiah complex. One article titled, "But behind closed doors, some conservatives were quietly reevaluating." "He's not wrong," one senator whispered to a lobbyist. "The bill was a mess, and we passed it." Meanwhile, independents and young voters began drifting toward Musk's orbit, not as a political leader, but as a voice they trusted. Polls showed a 12-point shift among 18 and 34-year-olds in Musk's favor when asked who they would trust on tech policy. Trump's digital team noticed. They launched a counter-campaign, short videos, TikToks and Reels, titled "Promises Made, Promises Kept." They showcased Trump's past cooperation with Musk: rockets, jobs, growth. But Musk's response was simple, a black screen with white text that read, "Progress isn't loyalty, it's motion." Another viral hit. Then came the unexpected. A cyber attack. One of Tesla's research facilities in Nevada suffered a breach. Early reports pointed to a sophisticated foreign intrusion. Musk went silent. The public wondered if this was retaliation from abroad, or perhaps closer. Trump publicly condemned the attack. "Whoever did this must be brought to justice. Elon and I have our differences, but America protects its builders." The comment stirred sympathy. Was this a turning point? Musk responded with appreciation but made no effort to re-engage. Still, something had changed. The tone across both camps softened. Back-channel communications resumed. Mutual contacts tested the waters. Could there be a meeting A forum? Some kind of detente? One proposal emerged: a joint appearance at a bipartisan innovation summit scheduled in New York. Organizers saw it as a chance to restore dialogue and headlines. Neither confirmed, but neither declined. And so the nation waited again. Then came the whisper campaigns. Anonymous quotes floated to journalist leaks designed to sway perception without ownership. One suggested Musk was courting Democratic donors behind closed doors. Another implied Trump had ordered federal reviews into Tesla's subsidy history. Neither claim was confirmed. Both trended on social media. Amid the noise, Musk posted a rare personal message. "I'm not running. I'm not switching sides. I'm just building what I believe in. Politics is a storm. I prefer stars." That line was picked up by poets, artists, even branding agencies. Shirts were printed. Memes turned it into a mantra. But inside the West Wing, it was seen as another subtle swipe. "He thinks he's above it all," one staffer said. "We'll remind him where real power lives." Behind the scenes, more lawmakers began floating. A controversial idea. Should the GOP embrace Musk as a bridge to younger tech-minded voters? Could Trump and Musk be persuaded into detente, not because of sentiment, but because of strategy? A think tank in Virginia quietly conducted simulations, electoral scenarios, coalition studies. All pointed to the same reality: if the feud escalated, both men would bleed support. So the machine paused just for a moment. At the Innovation Summit in New York, both names remained on the program. Seating charts were drafted and redrafted. Moderators prepared neutral questions. Security protocols doubled. The media framed it as the meeting of the minds, or perhaps the clash of egos. On the day of the event, black SUVs arrived early. Crowds gathered. Protesters and fans mixed on the sidewalks. Flashbulbs popped. Inside the ballroom, pulsed with tension, Musk arrived first, calm, collected, then Trump, confident, commanding. They did not shake hands, but they nodded, a start. The panel began. Cameras rolled. America watched. The tension was electric. Inside the summit hall, thousands of eyes focused on the stage. Two towering figures sat just feet apart: Elon Musk, the mind of the future, and Donald Trump, the force of the past. The moderator, visibly cautious, welcomed the crowd and promised an open and honest dialogue about America's innovation future. The first 20 minutes passed with guarded civility. Trump praised America's energy independence. Musk agreed, but emphasized the role of renewables. The moderator moved from climate to commerce, from regulation to international competition. For a moment, it seemed like the heat had simmered. But then came the question that broke the ice. "Mr. Musk," the moderator asked, "you said that braking systems can become breaking down. Were you referring to the Trump administration?" A hush fell. Elon looked directly at Trump, then back at the crowd. "I was referring to all leadership that prioritizes disruption over outcomes. If we dismantle without rebuilding, we inherit rubble." Trump raised an eyebrow. He leaned forward. "You know, Elon, when I ran, I promised to shake things up, and we did. The economy boomed. The market soared. Tesla soared." The crowd clapped. Musk nodded but didn't smile. "I won't deny Tesla grew, but that wasn't because of politics. It was in spite of it." Gasps rippled. Trump didn't flinch. "You're welcome." The moderator quickly pivoted, but the moment had landed. This wasn't just dialogue. It was a duel. After the summit, every news outlet ran clips. Social media broke records. Edits framed Musk as a truth-teller. Others hailed Trump's confidence. Late-night shows replayed the standoff with split screens and dramatic music. Yet privately, something else happened. That night, in a backroom suite above the summit hall, Musk and Trump met for 8 minutes. No aides, no press, no statements. Sources say it was civil, direct. Trump reportedly asked, "What do you want?" Musk answered, "What the country needs." The rest was speculation. In the weeks that followed, the story shifted. Trump's campaign stopped mentioning Musk. Musk stopped criticizing the bill. A silence, not surrender, but strategy. New developments began to fill the void. Musk unveiled a federal infrastructure proposal with bipartisan support. Trump focused on his core base, rallying in states like Ohio and Arizona. But political analysts knew the real shift was subterranean. The public feud had burned bright, but now both men had recalibrated. Not because they forgave, because they foresaw. The summit may have calmed the surface, but under that calm, a deeper current stirred. Musk returned to Austin with more than applause. He returned with leverage. Trump flew back to Mar-a-Lago with something heavier: calculation. That 8-minute meeting, however, brief, had planted new seeds. In public, both men stuck to their lanes. Musk focused on infrastructure, space exploration, and AI safety. Trump doubled down on his rallies, fine-tuning his message to a base that still chanted his name with devotion. But behind closed doors, teams from both sides began what insiders would call a soft thaw. A quiet understanding emerged. Musk wouldn't criticize Trump directly. Trump wouldn't name Musk in attacks. Their paths diverged in tone, but not necessarily in purpose. Strategists from both camps explored ways to align on shared goals without mutual endorsement. After all, America was facing more than just an election. It was standing on the edge of a technological and political realignment. In Texas, Musk's agenda gained steam. He toured research labs, greenlit new gigafactory expansions, and opened a new data center focused on artificial intelligence ethics. At each stop, he emphasized national resilience, energy independence, innovation, and supply chain security. Media outlets noted how his language echoed certain populist themes, albeit repackaged in technocratic terms. Meanwhile, Trump's schedule intensified. Rallies across the Rust Belt drew tens of thousands. His message, economic revival, border control, and global competitiveness, remained familiar, but now featured subtle updates. "We need visionaries," he said at a rally in Michigan, "but we also need leaders who finish what they start." It was an unmistakable nod, and Musk, watching from afar, took note. Back-channel conversations continued. Advisors discussed possible future alignments on key issues: digital infrastructure, cybersecurity, space exploration. One plan surfaced repeatedly: a joint tech policy initiative that wouldn't require either man to fully endorse the other, but would signal cooperation. But the past hadn't disappeared. Conservative influencers still bristled at Musk's perceived arrogance. Tech commentators distrusted Trump's approach to innovation. The friction, though quieter, remained. In the backdrop of these maneuvers, global tensions rose. Cyber threats increased. China ramped up its AI development. Russian state media mocked the Musk-Trump feud as American decadence. National security advisors sounded alarms. Suddenly, the stakes felt bigger than ego. That shift, global urgency, became a shared language. In Washington, a bipartisan tech committee invited Musk to testify. The topic: artificial intelligence and American sovereignty. His testimony was deliberate and precise. AI is not science fiction, it's infrastructure, it's weapons, it's diplomacy. We need public-private collaboration rooted in shared purpose, not personality. It was received with standing applause. Even senators who'd previously dismissed Musk now praised his candor. Later that evening, Trump posted a rare measured truth: Elon's right. AI is serious. America must lead, no second place. That single message cracked the tension. Suddenly, the online discourse shifted. Commentators speculated: was this the start of a new partnership, a reconciliation, or simply smart positioning? At SpaceX headquarters, Musk was asked by a journalist whether he saw Trump as a future collaborator. "I see America as needing all hands on deck. Whatever works we'll consider," Musk replied. The ambiguity was intentional. It kept options open, but it also fueled intrigue. Meanwhile, economic indicators showed a surge in investment interest across sectors tied to both men: space tech, green energy, manufacturing. Wall Street began modeling projections based on a hypothetical Musk-Trump détente. In Silicon Valley, a new think tank emerged funded by entrepreneurs aligned with Musk and Trump's donor circles. Their mission: to design a new American model integrating innovation with strong state oversight. Critics called it a rebranding of techno-nationalism. Supporters said it was the future. The American electorate, meanwhile, watched with cautious curiosity. Polls showed increasing approval for policy-driven alliances, even among divided camps. People weren't demanding friendship between Musk and Trump. They were demanding function. And in that subtle shared mission, however distant it seemed, a new chapter was beginning. It began with silence. A week passed after the testimony and Trump's tweet, and neither side said a word. The media spun theories. Were they strategizing? Was there a formal pact? The only response was more silence. But inside political and industrial circles, the buzz was electric. Legislation was moving. A bipartisan infrastructure proposal, penned in part by Musk's policy team, was gaining traction. It promised sweeping reforms: tax credits for emerging technologies, streamlined, permitting for factories, national investment in AI research centers, and robust cybersecurity protocols. It was being called the New Frontier Act. What stunned observers wasn't just the content, but the backing. Key members of Trump's political circle began voicing support. Senators aligned with his base called the bill forward-looking and fiscally sound. And though Trump never formally endorsed it, his silence spoke volumes. Then one Thursday morning, something unexpected happened. Musk posted a single image on X, the cover of the New Frontier Act, signed with a pen Trump had once given him. The caption read, "Time to build." It went viral within minutes. By afternoon, a statement from Trump's PAC followed. President Trump has always supported innovation, job creation, and American greatness. The principles in the New Frontier Act reflect that mission. Suddenly, the story wasn't about feuds anymore. It was about frameworks, collaboration, pragmatic nationalism with a technological edge. Cable pundits couldn't agree on what to call it, a détente, a truce, a merger of interests. But in towns across America, voters were responding. A national poll showed record bipartisan support for a policy neither Musk nor Trump had openly co-authored, but both had clearly touched. The markets reacted. Tesla's stock jumped. Defense tech firms surged. Renewable energy indexes climbed. Trump-aligned investment groups touted patriotic innovation portfolios. The White House, sensing momentum, attempted to reclaim the narrative. The president praised the bill in a briefing, saying, "We welcome all ideas that move America forward, even from surprising places." Musk didn't respond. He didn't need to. A week later, Trump returned to Iowa for another rally. The speech was vintage Trump, full of energy applause lines and jabs at political rivals. But midway he paused. "You know," he said, "they said we couldn't work with the tech guys. They said they hated us. But guess what? We're getting it done. Because we're not here for feelings, we're here for the future." The crowd roared. He didn't name Musk. He didn't have to. In a final twist, the Senate passed the New Frontier Act with overwhelming support. Musk's team released a short statement. "We are honored to contribute. The mission continues." Trump released none. But later that night, he posted a clip of a SpaceX rocket launching overlaid with one word: America. No feud lasts forever, especially not when the future is at stake.